Zombies Ate My Neighbors was released on September 24th of 1993. The game was developed by LucasArts, however it was published by Konami. In the game, you take the role of either Zeke or Julie, and you have to attempt to save as many of your neighbors from being killed by the zombie hordes. The game takes many tropes from various horror movies, however puts a humorous spin on them. Despite not selling great upon release, the game has gained a cult following over the years. Zombies Ate My Neighbors features a top-down run-and-gun style gameplay. There's 55 stages, including the optional bonus levels. In order to complete each level, you need to rescue as many of your neighbors as possible, and after they're all rescued or killed, a door will appear that'll take you to the next level. When you start out, there's 10 neighbors to save on each level, but as they're killed, the number will decrease on later levels. The game also features a ton of weapons as well as power-ups. However, your main weapon that you start out with is an Uzi water gun, which does minimal damage to many of the enemies on later levels. The power-ups include things like health packs or decoys to distract the zombies. Various enemies you'll encounter are weak to certain weapons. For instance, if you use silverware on werewolves, they die in one hit. The gameplay in theory should be really good, but the execution of it isn't the best. The hit detection is spotty, making it occasionally hard to rescue neighbors or shoot enemies, and the game's difficulty also ramps up drastically after the first 5 levels, becoming extremely hard, which isn't a bad thing. However, paired with the maze-like level design, the game can become frustrating quickly. Despite playing the game numerous times in the 90s and recently, I've never beaten this game due to the extreme difficulty on the higher levels. The game mechanic of finding all the neighbors wouldn't be so bad if the levels weren't as maze-like as they are. However, you'll often feel like you're just going in circles looking for the last neighbor on a level. A detailed map would have benefited the game greatly. However, the in-game map only shows blips of where your neighbors are in relation to where you are, and no details as to where you are in each maze. The game was a favorite rental of many of my friends back in the 90s, and while it was fun to play 2-player simultaneous gameplay, the game really does fall apart for me because of the numerous issues it has. Graphically, the game is dark and the graphics suit the game well, however I wouldn't say they're good looking. The sprites aren't as detailed or crisp as many other games on the console, and the dark color palette makes the game look somewhat bland. Zombies Ate My Neighbors does have a fairly good soundtrack. The sound effects are good and most of the music is well composed. However, there are a few tracks on the soundtrack that I find somewhat annoying. Overall, Zombies Ate My Neighbors is a great game for its premise, however it falls apart with its high difficulty and spotty gameplay mechanics. Luckily, there is a password system, so you can see more of the game without having to play through the first levels repeatedly. However, the password system doesn't allow you to keep any of your power-ups, making the game impossible to beat if you start from one of the final levels. Zombies Ate My Neighbors is a fun game to try, however, it's by no means a must-own game.